La Puente, sí, Riverside, y aquí lo tienes, Stockton, Stockton, and then you bring the night away.
The renowned leader David Lee Roth, who once characterized Van Halen's voice as the epitome of rock and roll swagger, is currently the subject of intense controversy after making a triumphant comeback to the stage in Florida. The now 70-year-old Roth began what has been called his comeback run on July 31st with a performance at Hard Rock Live in Hollywood, Florida. This concert, which was promoted as part of the last tour Unless It Isn't, was the third leg on his much-awaited comeback tour. Those who came to see the rock star anticipated charisma, strength, and nostalgia. Instead, they received conflicting reactions from the audience, with some expressing harsh condemnation and others continuing to celebrate his lasting presence. Following the social media posting of fan-shot footage by concertgoers, the Hollywood production immediately started to generate internet interest. Hours later, Van Halen fans and devoted fans commented on the performance's snippets, and many of their responses were anything but tolerant. Roth's vocals were criticized by viewers for sounding strained and erratic throughout the performance. "Dave's voice is all over the place," said one dissatisfied fan in a direct description of the encounter. "To hear that hurts." Another offered a more critical opinion, saying, "This is embarrassing. You're losing the words on every other line since your voice is so bad." Further, other remarks implied that the artist might be jeopardizing the legacies he spent decades cultivating. According to one reviewer, he's not doing his legacy any favors. For 15 years, he has been unable to sing this song. The criticism continued after that. Many were disappointed not only by Roth's voice flaws, but also by the discrepancy between his reputation and what they witnessed in person. Fans have hailed him as Diamond Dave, the charismatic performer who could take over any stage over the years. In Florida, however, some believed that his musical quality had deviated too much from what had earlier made him unique, and that only his stage presence remained. The difficulty that many elderly rock performers encounter, juggling the need to keep performing with the fact that their abilities are changing, was highlighted by these responses. However, the narrative does not conclude negatively. 3 days later, on August 3rd, Roth gave a performance at Tampa's seminal Hard Rock Event Center, and the reception was very different. Despite being smaller and more intimate, the venue was entirely sold out, and the event was well received by the people who came. Although Roth's voice obviously shows the effects of aging, reviews from that night pointed out that his charisma and enthusiasm on stage were still very much present. The incredibly talented musicians in his band gave the audience the Van Halen mood they had hoped for with their incisive, tight performances. The audience was described in the media as enthusiastic, emotional, and profoundly involved, indicating that Roth's charisma as a performer still draws audiences in spite of his vocal difficulties. According to one review, Roth uses stage theatrics, humor, and personality to get over his vocal difficulties. Through his lively presence, engaging narrative, and engagement with fans, he was able to create an unforgettable experience. For many Tampa residents, the event was about honoring decades of music and remembering the essence of a time rather than hitting every note flawlessly. Roth nevertheless provided a memorable evening for those fans, and the flaws only heightened the feeling of nostalgia. There is a continuing discussion in the music industry about the striking differences between the receptions in Tampa and Hollywood. On the one hand, Roth's return might jeopardize the illustrious legacy he established with Van Halen, whose dynamic vocals and stage presence revolutionized hard rock in the late 1970s and early 1980s, according to critics. The opportunity to watch Roth perform again, even in a different capacity, is a gift in and of itself, according to supporters. They contend that it is impossible to expect a 70-year-old singer to perform as he did 40 years ago because aging invariably alters artists. In rock and pop culture, the argument raises a more general question. How should iconic performers handle their older years? Should they continue to perform as long as people are willing to see them, or should they gracefully retire at the height of their popularity to maintain their reputation? For Roth, the solution is obvious. He is still determined to perform his music on stage in spite of the criticism. Even his whimsical title of the tour, "The Last Tour Unless It Isn't," implies that he doesn't intend to complete his journey here. In the present live music landscape, David Lee Roth continues to be a divisive figure. Fans who are disappointed by a diminishing voice, and those who value his unparalleled stage presence, were equally enthralled with his performances in Florida. Whether they are seen as a humiliating gaffe or a triumph of fortitude, these performances underscore the intricacies of heritage, sentimentality, and the unadulterated demands made on celebrities. Fans and critics will be eagerly monitoring the tour as it progresses. To counterbalance the vocal difficulties, would Roth be able to hone his style and rely even more on his stage presence and his backup band? Or will his return be framed as a mistake by the harsher voices that take center stage? Unquestionably, David Lee Roth continues to evoke strong feelings, provoke discussion, and serve as a reminder to the world of why his name is inscribed in rock history. For better or worse, he will always be remembered.